Well, I guess like everybody, I'd be remiss if I didn't start out with the Kobe Bryant story because my players are devastated. It's interesting to, I get a chance to meet him a couple times because of Magic, but my players didn't know him, and I would just like to say that how sad I am for his family. He kind of stood for everything I believe in. He was, according to Irvin, the hardest working guy in America. He had all the talent, he had all the money, and makes you appreciate and understand that life is sometimes too short, and live every day. So that is sad. I guess the second thing I would say is honored to be up here on Willie Burton Day. I told Willie, I told his mother. Judd was the head coach then, nothing against that, but he would have had dragged me to Minnesota. I would have tackled him and kept him there. I just loved Willie Burton. He's such a versatile player, and God, it's great to see his picture up there. I think they do a hell of a job with those, and he was one of those guys that I thought, could play inside, could play outside, could do a lot of different things, and I saw his mother today, and it was great to see Clem back here. So that was nice. I felt for Richard because I've been there. I thought early, I'd give them more credit than us, that they ran that offense and they got some open shots. They really did have some open shots. They just missed those shots, and Kelser is too good a shooter to miss some of the ones he missed, and I thought that was a big deal, big difference in the game. They were killing us on the offensive boards the first 5 minutes. We shored that up a little bit, and we decided to go inside too and try to wear down the big fella, because Arturo is a load, man. You can't. We doubled him a little bit the second half and tried to dig off one-on-one. I don't think there's many guys in cover, because I think I got one of the better defensive centers in the conference, and Xavier, and Arturo is really good. So not turning the ball over the second half and shoring up the offensive rebounding, where they had a ton the first half, and we had the 8 turnovers and only 2 the second half or whatever, I thought was the difference in the game. Plus Cassius, the second half, I thought really ran our team, made some plays. But it's kind of fun. I can give Rocket Watts and Aaron Henry a lot of credit, because they had the guard, Carr, and Carr just came off another monster game. That kid's going to be a hell of a player here. Really good kid too, it seems like, and so we put a lot into him. I thought we covered the ball screens decently, but I thought Rocket Watts, for the first time, having to really guard a great player, showed some things, and then Aaron Henry could have sulked, and he came off the bench and maybe had one of his better games. Some questions.
Tom, after an emotional loss at Indiana, how good was it to be here and just spend a couple of days away from East Lansing?
Well, there's some reasons I decided to do that, and and I know if we would have lost the game, everybody would have, thought we were just on a vacation. But I can only tell you that I had some serious reasons why I wanted to just get our team together. We haven't had a lot of time to spend together with all we've been through, and sometimes we have half our team, 3/4 of our team, but we needed to have our whole team there, and I think that was good. We went to a game, but we got a lot of work done, a lot of film work. They were kind enough here to let us practice at their practice facility than here, and we practiced over at the Timberwolves, and Ryan's such a good friend, and I thought all in all, this was a good thing for us. But how it goes. If you win, it's great. If you lose, you're the dumbest human being on the planet. I've won a few times and been the dumbest human being on the planet, so I appreciate that. But, we changed the lineup up. It wasn't scrambling. I'm trying to find a consistency button, and Aaron has actually played pretty good, but it's like 2 rebounds here, 1 in this game, he's got to be the guy that's the third guy. You're going to have 3 guys if you're going to win big, and then you can have some role players, but we've had 2.5 at times, and so I just love the way he responded, though, but I'm not done with the, figuring out how to keep that on a consistent basis right now. As far as our other, we played Malik, and he played hard, and I thought Kithier played hard, and everybody played hard. And I didn't think, Marcus handled it as well. But, you know, when you're young, you'll learn. So you'll learn.
I was gonna ask about the lineup shift you mentioned, Aaron, but Malik too early looked a little more, I don't wanna say confident, he looked more into it earlier than.
Yeah, I think more into it is a good way. You know, I think these guys need to know when they're going in. You know, we've got 4 guys there, and we're just kind of making them musical chairs. It's not really fair to them, but what's not fair to me is nobody's risen up and become that guy that I think we could, you know, move in there. And so we'll have some things to contemplate, but at the same time, Marcus is, I mean, he gives us some things. The reason I went to it, to be very honest, which I hate doing with the media, but I will. You know, he tires so fast, and one of the things we looked at, we were putting him in, then we take him out, we leave him out for a long time, and he never gets his second win. Sometimes when you start, you burn up you might not look excited, like he never looks excited to me, but I think internally, so we said, well, we'll bring him off the bench 4 minutes in and see how that works. And there were just a couple things that happened that we had talked to him about that didn't go that way, but I still think that he'll be a big part of things, I really do.
Tom, wondering when you found out about the Kobe news today. I think it was breaking a little bit before the game. Did you want you guys to be able to play and then?
Yeah, I didn't tell him then. I found out right before the game. I mean, you know, it speaks so much about a man when you don't know him. I mean, like I said, I did this much, but none of the players did, and yet the idolization, the respect, it was like, oh my God. I mean that win, sad for me because we need to feel good, but that win meant nothing 3 minutes into it. I was amazed just watching different players that I didn't think would really look at things that way, and it kind of tells you how fragile life is. And for his daughter, and, oh man, it's sad. So I found out right before, but I didn't tell him till after, and they didn't know. Thank God they don't have those electronic belt buckles on their uniforms that they could text and figure out what's going on.
Tom, being from Michigan, what is a fun fact or special anecdote about Willie Burton that outsiders may not know?
Well, you know, I was just a young GA when I started recruiting them, and that means Willie's getting old, so tell him that. But, you know, I enjoyed watching Willie play. I kept saying, man, that guy shouldn't have got away, you know, and yet I was barely an assistant then when he did his thing, and so I watched his career, and then, you know, since then he's done things with kids, and he's doing things in schools, and he's come up a few times, and when they asked me to do something, I didn't know it was for this game, or I would have probably ripped Willie or something, you know, I wouldn't want to, you know, the place probably howling for him today, but it was really an honor to do it. I think he's a class guy. I think his enthusiasm, you know, I love his enthusiasm. I love his versatility. I don't have any anecdotes because it was so long ago that, you know, I didn't get out much to see Willie a little bit towards the end, but he was almost, you know, and he told me at the hotel that he was all but committed there, so I met at Clem too. He thought he was committed to Michigan State, but I wasn't his recruiter or anything, so I didn't know him as good then. I got to know him better later, and I'm proud of him. I'm proud of what he's doing for himself and what he's doing for other kids, and I love what Minnesota does here, the way they put those pictures up. Numbers are good, but pictures, I caught myself staring at there during halftime and then staring at it a little bit when the game ended. It's pretty cool.
Coach, Willie is the first of Clem Haskins' teams to be honored this way. Do you think that the coach will ever get his full due and recognition of what he's done, not only as a coach, but also in leader of men and working with his players?
I don't know why, when I got my job, you know, it was Bob, Clem, and Gene. And I'll never forget, it was at a Big Ten meeting, and we were voting on the Big Ten tournament, and those 3 guys approached me and said, you know, we're really not crazy about the Big Ten tournament. And I didn't know anything, you know, I was green behind the ears, so I just sat there, and those 3 were all standing there, and I was sitting. And they said, so we're gonna vote on it, and Judd's a good friend of ours, so how do you plan on voting? I said, however you tell me. And I realized then, I don't know, I just loved how hard Clem's teams played. I think I think he was great for Big Ten, great for college basketball, and I think he's great for kids. I mean, he was a guy that I think he gave kids second chances, but man, he went at them. And he changed them. You know, I went and gave him a hug right before the game started. I saw him sitting there and his son and his wife, and I said, you know, he says, I'm so proud of Willie. I said, man, I'm proud of you for, you know, you set the tone there. And I think that's what Clem was. He was great for kids, and he was great for me too. I mean, he helped me a lot my first couple of years, man. He appreciated my teams played hard, and we'd come up here and it was like a slugfest. It should have been, you know, Muhammad Ali against Joe Frazier, you know, and now we play bumper pool out there, so it's not as much fun. I bet you Clem was a little bored today. I can't hear guys, can't do anything, but he had guys like Coffee, and oh my God, those guys were something. So I hope Clem gets everything he deserves. I think he did a lot for this place, and I must say that not being up here last year, the changes and open the practice gym, somebody, AD or whoever, board and coaches and, you know, PJ, I know has had a lot to do with it. They've done a hell of a job here with this facility, and it's really, really nice.
We've got time for two more.
You kind of touched on Tillman a little bit in terms of what he did defensively. Offensively, it seemed like him and Cassius had the pick and roll down a little more today. Was there a change, or was it just better recognition?
You know, I think we told Cash he's got to come off it harder. Cash hasn't been himself. You guys know that have been there, and I still don't think he's coming off things as hard. He looks tired to me still. I think he's got to, you know, we've got to practice more, and he's got to have better practices, and it's not his fault. It's just the situations that we've been in. And so we got him coming off a little harder, and then we got X rolling a little harder. X was sick. I mean, he was sick before the game. I got a couple guys that were thrown up. Connor, George left the bench, and so we did some of that, and I think just keeping it in Cash's hands. I thought early we were over dribbling it. Second half, I thought he did something with it. He made some moves. He got downhill. He threw a couple of those lobs. He made a couple of those little runners. I thought Cash looked like old Cash. He even hit a couple threes.
Thomas Kithier, he's been overpowered in a few matchups lately, but today I thought, you know, from my vantage point, he had one screen that led to a Gabe Brown shot, took a Turu in and scored. What did you think of his performance?
You know, he's getting better too. I thought he made some. I was disappointed in some of our bigs on the fouling they did. You know, like he fouled what's his name one time. I mean, I think that's when Clem stood up and clapped because it was a hatchet job, you know, and even though it was against Clem's team, he was just probably happy. And I said, well, you know, like, what are you doing? I mean, you know, when you get overpowered like that because you're a little bit smaller and you're not strong enough, then you compensate. But I thought he did play pretty good. He made some plays. You know, we kept rotating guys in there. It's musical chairs. It's probably frustrating to you. It's probably hard on them, but it's frustrating to me too. And we just kind of got to get some consistency there. I think we're going to be playing all four of them one way or another. I think it's just the way it is. But I thought he, you know, and I thought Malik for his first start was pretty good. And I thought Julius came in and did okay, you know. I mean, guarding a Turu you need a bunch of people.
You mentioned Ryan Saunders. He's obviously going through a little rough patch. What kind of advice have you given him?
I talked to Ryan the other day, but you know, Ryan is, it's unbelievable what he's done, you know. I mean, sometimes rough patches are because of personnel and injuries and all the things you go through, and especially at that level. And when I went over to the facility, I got a chance to spend a little time with him. And, you know, I didn't like his dad. I loved his dad. He was, you know, really a good friend of mine that we talked often late at night. And I try to stay up with him, with Ryan, just because I feel like I owe that to Flip. And I think Ryan is, you know, you talk about a tough job. I mean, you're back in your city and you're this and you're that, but I mean, I think he's done a hell of a job. I mean, I thought last year he's won some games. I mean, it's not easy when you got guys out and you got guys injured. And let me tell you, he's well versed for that job, because the number of times that Flip came when he was at Detroit, he'd come over and spend time with us all the time. When he was at Washington, I'd go out there. When he was at Minnesota, I came up here a few times. And when Ryan was with him in those times, and he was with some other coaches, I mean, he was a sponge. I mean, Ryan is well prepared for the job. he's got to get through the rough times. But he's got no bigger fan than me, you know, not his wife, not Debbie. I just think it's so cool that the opportunity he gets, and I think it's been earned. I don't think it was given because he's Flip's kid. You know, I just hope we get a little more and they say, hey, there's Ryan Saunders, you know, that was Flip's dad. You know, his dad was Flip, you know, in other words, turn it around because he's gonna have some success.
All right, thanks, guys.
Did you